The Channel Mom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
If you're a busy mom, get someone else to send your personalized cards for much less than a store-bought card and stamp. It's that easy. Just click on Send Out Cards.
Thank you for the party music, Chris. It is a party here today on the Channel Mom Show. This is our first anniversary show, our one-year anniversary show. Thank you to our audience who have been following us. We got a call from Christine Ives, long-time listener. Okay, we are here, by the way, on Mile High Sports Radio, AM 1510, FM 93.7. You can also join us on channelmom.com. You can also listen to our podcast on iTunes. So please let people know that they can watch us there as well. And I think a lot of people are going to want to tune in for this next segment once we have it recorded and up on channelmom.com, because this woman, in my estimation, is beloved. I'm not supposed to adore anyone on this planet, really, but I think she's fabulous. Michelle Duggar. She is the mother of 19 children, and she always has a smile on her face. And by the way, welcome Michelle Duggar, the star, one of the stars of 19 Kids and Counting on TLC. Welcome to the Channel Mom Show, dear.
Oh, well, thank you. It is a joy to be with you girls. And my favorite is getting to connect with other moms. And so this is exciting for me.
Oh, good. Well, they need you. And I appreciate your humility. I was blessed when your daughter Jill, who calls herself the family secretary, you've appointed one of those with all 19.
Yes.
I was so pleased when I heard from her that you would like to be on the show, because the day before Mother's Day, on our anniversary show, you are humble enough to say that you don't have it all right, but you do have some advice to offer. I know that you've written a book with your husband, A Love That Multiplies, and obviously you're also giving out advice on the show when it's called upon. And you're giving out advice on your blog, and I so appreciate your blog. Can I just say that to you, because you're very real, you know?
Oh, well, I think our children keep us real. I think they really give us the opportunity to learn patience every day.
Yeah.
So I think as a parent, we desire, for our children to be the person that God has called them to be, and yet we can only do that by God's grace as a parent, as we humble ourselves every day and just seek Him and ask Him to teach us what we need to do.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know how moms do it without prayer. I'm praying all the time. But, I don't know that if you heard the intro of my show, which was 40 minutes ago, but having come from television, I was in television, and I was not nearly as well known as you are now, but I was in TV, and then I became, quote unquote, just a mom, and I learned the contrast between being in the part of our culture that is honored and worshipped, which is the spotlight part of our culture, where you're rich and famous, or you're living in the right kind of house or driving the right kind of car, and then being somebody who's not in that culture, and you're, quote unquote, just a mom, so nobody's paying attention and no one's applauding you or thanking you. I want you to talk about, Michelle, how you are now a celebrity to many, but you are still realizing that the most important thing in your life is Jim Bob and your 19 kids and your faith in God. How do you stay in that place when the whole world is telling you you're important because you're a celebrity now?
Oh, my. Well, I'm reminded every day, right where I'm at, that really the most important thing, and it has been this from the beginning, when Jim Bob and I met, I know that my relationship with my Lord is my most important, and then my relationship with Jim Bob and the children. And as we are living our lives, following the Lord and training and loving on our children, it's interesting to me that God has opened up this opportunity, as we call it in our family. It's our family ministry, to make Christ known. Mm-hmm. And our prayer has been, as people watch the show, 19 Kids and Counting, that they will see a family that's not perfect. We don't have it all figured out. But by God's grace, we know who does have it all figured out. Yeah. And our heart is that we want to point people to the Lord. And we say often in our home that the Bible is the owner's manual for life. And as we turn to God's Word and look and seek and ask Him, He'll give us answers for everything. And the same goes for parenting and anything else that we need to know.
Yeah. I mean, I often have to turn to God when I'm dealing with problems with my children. And, I want to tell our Channel Mom listeners that we do have a very special announcement coming up regarding Michelle and the Channel Mom Show, so I'm excited to tell you about that closer to the end of the interview. You write a blog, and I was perusing it last night and saw one in particular where you were talking about, and I think maybe this happens more in Western culture because we're so blessed in this country. We have so much, and we're given so often, we're given things that we need before we even ask for them. You talked about expectations and about a lot of moms thinking things should look just so in their marriage, with their child rearing, in their job, in their house, in their cars, so on and so forth. And you said at some point you have to let those expectations go or it's all going to come crashing down. Even your right to a clean house, your right to a full night's sleep, your right to a perfect marriage. And you say at some point you got to let those expectations go. Can you talk to the moms out there today about that?
Oh, yes. I think we quickly find out when we are in the middle of everyday life that it isn't working out like we might have thought it should. And the realization, our pastor once said, expectations are like way up here at the ceiling, and then reality may be way down here at the floor. Everything in between is frustration. And if our hearts are not in such a place before God that we realize we have to give our expectations to the Lord. We make goals, we definitely set, goals and make plans, and as the Scripture says, man makes plans, but God will direct the path ultimately. We have to give those plans, those expectations to God, and yield our rights in the sense of realizing, okay, Lord, I yield my right to having a full night's sleep. I yield my right to having a spotless, clean house or the picture-perfect house that you would see on the front cover of a magazine.
Right.
I used to be able to keep my house that way before I had 3-4 children, but as time went on, I realized this is not reality for me. The Lord began to show me it's not my ideals of what I think it should be, but what the Lord is making it to be on my daily, schedule today. And by His grace, I'm going to focus on, number 1, loving Him, and then number 2, loving and serving those that He's given me in my life. And that's my husband and my children. And as I am doing that, I can see the joy that comes and training them to love God. By my example, they see it every day. If I'm a frustrated, angry mom, then my children are going to become that. But if I am loving God and loving them and serving them and showing them what it means to serve with a joyful heart. I think I've got a plaque on my wall in my bedroom that says, be a joyful mother of children. And I think we mothers set the mood and the tone for our home every day, day in and day out. And our children are going to catch that vision from us.
Well, I can see why God gave you 19 children, because you have a fabulous attitude. What do we say this morning? Because we certainly have a number of listeners, myself included, who have a relationship with God. But what about the single mom this morning who's listening to you and doesn't have that relationship yet and feels at her wit's end and says, well, that's not what I believe and that's not what I can examine and I don't know what to do and I'm at my wit's end and you don't understand what it's like to be me all alone and trying to raise my 3 kids without my husband. What do you say to her about that place that can seem so dark and without hope? I mean, I've got to believe, even with your relationship with God, when you're looking at a messy house and 19 children and 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 who are angry with you, that you do have those dark places. So what do you say to that mom today, Michelle?
Oh, my. I cannot identify with where that single mom is at. All I know is I have dear friends that are single moms, a widow friend. I've also got a single mom who's been single from the time she's had her children. And then another mother who is, divorced and has been single. And I realized for their pain that they walk through, the pain is real. We all have those moments of where we feel overwhelmed. But I have seen those mothers, those dear friends of mine, that have turned to the Lord, cried out to God, and He has given them the grace to walk where they are and to raise their children. Now, these moms that I know, I'm speaking for them, but they have raised their children, and adult children, some of them now, and they have done it by God's grace. And I think through the difficult tragedies that we don't expect that come up in life, by crying out to God in those dark moments, He is faithful. Even when others let us down, He's faithful. And He has carried them through. And I think there is hope at the end of that dark tunnel because we serve the God of hope. My pain is different than other moms that have walked through things. By losing our little Jubilee in December of this last year.
I know, you went through a miscarriage.
Yes, I think, we have the precious pictures of our little Jubilee here in my room. I'm looking at them right now. And I think, everyone experiences disappointment and grief through life and realize we're going to blow it. We're not going to be perfect, but thank the Lord, His grace is there, His mercy is there, and He does give us hope to get up and keep going. And so I think in that regard, He loves our kids so much more than we can even understand. And He will help us to parent them in those moments when it seems so dark. I think I remember at points there would be this reminder come to me, don't question in the darkness what God has shown me in the light. And I think so often when we're in one of those dark moments, we want to give up. We want to just think, this is not working, Lord. What are you thinking, Yeah. And yet, when we will continue on, and I have a poem that I love to read by Roy Lesson, and it's called Continue On. I think we put that on our website, and I'm not sure if it's up yet, but we did have it at DuggarFamily.com/moms. And it is a powerful poem to just encourage us women to continue on in the place that God has called us.
Sure. And moms need that. We're going to have to wrap up here in about a minute. I do want to announce to everybody that we're going to have Michelle back for her whole show so that you can actually call her. Shelley will get a chance to ask a question. I'm not going to let you do one today now, Shell, but I have a mom who wants to ask you how you are so calm, so we'll address that the next time, how you can be calm in the midst of 19. And another mom who just wanted to tell you she loves your voice, Michelle. So you're going to come back and visit with us in June, and we're going to give you a whole show. So we're going to be so fortunate to have you then and to give out some advice and take some calls.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I look forward to that.
Well, we look forward to having you. And I wish you chicken and dumplings on Mother's Day.
You are so sweet.
I know that is your favorite meal, my dear. Yes. And I hope your kids whip it up for you.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
All right, well,
I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. And happy Mother's Day, and we will talk to you again in June.
Happy Mother's Day to you too. God bless.
God bless you too, dear. That is Michelle Duggar, one of the 21 stars of 19 Kids and Counting on TLC, and she's also written a book, Love That Multiplies. So thank you so much today to her for being with us.